Hi everyone, this is Dawn at Dawn's Addiction, dawnsaddiction.blogspot.com. I wanted to go through and quickly give everybody a tour of my scrap room. It's not very elaborate, but it does the job. So if we start over here at the window, I've got some old Sizzix stuff. My Sidekick, it's basically used for embossing only now. Sharpies in a coffee can, some photography stuff that I've done. I use vases to hold a lot of my extra stuff since I don't have all that much storage room. And in the blue vase over here, I've got lots of glitter, loose glitter, glitter glue, that sort of thing. I've got fancy pens in here, the Galaxy markers for writing on dark paper, some of the Martha Stewart pens, that sort of thing. Over here, I've got some chipboard slides and Prima flowers. I've got some of my projects up here just hanging up, and a chalkboard and whiteboard to scribble myself notes and ideas. ATG gun, my Provocraft paper cutter, and self-healing mat. I've got a little bin here full of the inks that I use. Most of them are just the Studio G pigment inks, super cheap, they do the job, and acrylic mounts as well. I've got a bin of wood rubber stamps. Most of them are also Studio G, Hampton Arts type stamps. Also alcohol-free baby wipes for cleaning up the stamps. My camera equipment, my tripod, camera, that kind of thing. A computer that's supposed to be hooked up, but I don't have it hooked up. I've got some vinyl in the bins. I've got lots of embossing stuff. My heat gun is over hanging on the other side of my racks. Some little foamy stamps that I don't really use. In the storage bins here, we have got magazines, the manuals for both my Cricuts, a guide for my Canon EOS camera that's just helpful to have. Here we've got cards that are pre-cut and pre-scored. I just bought them in a value pack at the local craft store. They're just nice to have. I also keep lots of envelopes up there for if I need an envelope real quick with a card that I've made. I've got some Cricut mats. Here also the smaller ones for my little Cricut and the big ones for my expressions. I've got all my basic colored cardstock, which most of this stuff is just Recollections brand from Michaels. I got a super killer deal on the giant packs, 2 for $5. So I bought, of course, a bunch of them, and you can see that's like 4 or 5 packs. I've got some paper tray paper. I use that generally for just card bases. Also some open stock cardstock that's just nice stuff from Joann's. I've got some Stampin' Up! Cards, boxes, and tags. I don't really use them, they're just nice to have. Below it, I keep all my stickers organized in accordion files. They are organized based on occasion. So I've got baby, boys, holidays, family and friends, alphabets, those sort of things. I've got all of my clear stamps in a nice organizer. It was cheap at a garage sale, and it holds the Studio G stamps really well. In Tupperwares, I have got embellishments, which have buttons, brads, all those kind of things in little nesting containers. I've got an adhesive section that's got my Scotch Quick Dry glue, pop dots, glue sticks, packing tape, some sewing stuff, anything I would need to adhere stuff together. And below that, I've got punches, my silent setter, and random other tools I don't use all that often. Below that, we've got all of my wedding planning stuff. It's got my address book, wedding invitations, and just stuff for the wedding. Over here, I have a bin of cards that I've made, projects that I've made and done, and they don't have a home yet or haven't been put where they belong. I've got photos that I keep just in a scrapbooking tote because it's convenient and they don't get ruined, and that I believe has more cards in it. Above it, I've got a container that holds cards that are organized by the month and whatnot. I've got some Prismacolor watercolor pencils, and I use these for most of my stamping images. I can blend them with water, works really well. All my scraps. I mentioned earlier that I would tell everybody how I keep my scraps. And for most of my stuff, I just use these plastic scrapbook, I guess, cases almost. They fit everything really well. It's nice to keep things organized by what they are, and they're really cheap to buy a big pack. So I keep my small solid scraps in one. That's basically anything smaller than an 8.5 by 11. And I've bought quite a few of the like 3-pound scrap pads or packs or whatnot, and it's nice. I just throw it all in there and find it when I need it. This is pattern and textured scraps, so you can see anything that's still pretty usable, I just throw in there. And I also have large solid scraps. Anything smaller than like an 8.5 by 11, I just throw in here, so I have it if I need to cut something real quick or whatnot. I've got an envelope for some paper lunch bag albums that I'm making, as well as the stuff for my sister-in-law, or soon-to-be, for her bridal shower invitations, and a little project. Jessica, there's a sneak peek of a mini album that I'm making for them for their wedding. If we go further over, I've got the computer monitor. That's a monster, and it doesn't get used. But hopefully one day I will be able to do Dawn's Addiction out of my scrap room. I've got music, of course. My little iPod's hooked up there. Some more flowers to the left. We've got stapler, tape, baby wipes, a little sprayer, pencils, pens, zig glue pens, rulers, all that. And my new addition is a Provo Craft So Crafty Mini. I got it for $1.50 at a scrapbooking garage sale. And I actually really like it. It doesn't do real high quality stitching, but it definitely works. My expressions, my Create, and my little Cricut station. It also holds all my spools of ribbon. And above at the top you can see the vase, again, is just filled with odds and ends. Also to the left I use a brochure holder to hold my Solutions cartridges. They just sit in there that way, and that way Zoe can't get them. Calendar. Underneath the table I've got a paper bag that I use for paper scraps, little plastic bin for garbage, and right here I've got my drawers of paper. At the top I have just some albums and things that are not really being used, extra Cricut mats, that sort of stuff. Next one is all solids. I have Mikasa solid stacks, whitewash stacks, coordinations, just basically anything that's a whole piece of paper and is solid is in that drawer. This is patterned papers. I am a paper addict, and so I have lots of paper for matting, some paper tray ink, polka dot papers, Nana's Kids. The flower shower spring stack is my favorite right now. And designer mat pads that I just get stuff for cheap, and I end up buying quite a bit of it, and then I have it if I ever need it. Bottom drawer is more patterned paper. A lot of it is just open stock patterned paper that I saw and I really liked. And some of the other stuff is just textured stuff that I decided I would use on cards or papers and whatnot. But there are just more paper stacks. The Kane Company giant stack at the bottom. Lots of stacks, 5 and 6 and whatnot. And I keep my boxes for a lot of things. The Cricut Create box, the Cricut Expressions box, my So Crafty box. As you can see, I obviously keep all the cartridge boxes and whatnot, but I just keep a lot of the boxes and things to store them in down the road, or when we move and I don't want them to get hurt, those kind of things. And then I also have my glider over here that was convenient when the kids were little, and now I love it and it lives in a corner because we don't use it, but I don't want to get rid of it. I also have a bin of goodies, paper, photo cards, albums, just paper cutters, stickers, glues, all kinds of stuff that was in my garage sale pile and never made it or didn't sell. So I may be doing some blog candy down the road with that stuff. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my scrap room, and I hope you have some motivation that even if you have a small space, you can definitely have a lovely room still. Have a good night.